All right, so I'm back. Here we are, part two of the basic networking tutorial. In the previous video, we added access points. We have devices that are running on the network. We have a computer that's connected. We have a laptop that's directly connected. It's not connected via wireless yet. We kind of explained what access points are. Again, access points are the devices if you're in a hospital or a hotel and you want to connect your laptop, more than likely you're connecting to an access point. They're just devices that are strategically placed throughout the entire facility to make sure they provide enough coverage for your wireless device. All right. So I was going to move forward and go into the configuration of some of these devices, but we actually need to go backwards a little bit to make sure that you understand a few things. So what you're looking at right now is a command prompt. I got to this, I accessed this on my, let's see, this is on my Windows 10 machine. Is this Windows 10? Yeah. On my Windows 10 machine, at the bottom, it says type here to search. I typed in CMD. C like Charles, M like Mary, D like David. CMD. Or you can type in command, I believe. Let me double check. So yeah, you can type in command and you'll get the command prompt. If you select command prompt, and this is what you get a black screen. Um, before we move forward with learning how to configure some of this stuff, it's important to know the command line. This is the Windows command line, but this switch has its own command line. This controller has its own command line. Now, for the example, the networking example that we're going to use Cisco. We're going to stick with one brand just to make sure that the command lines are the same across the board. But since I'm instructing you and I'm trying to, teach this to you, I want you to know that the devices, the command line here that we're going to work with is the Windows command line. This is the command prompt for Windows. When we configure the devices, we're going to learn Cisco. And I just choose Cisco because it's a popular brand. Um, there are a lot of companies hiring for Cisco. Cisco's always hiring. Plus the iOS or the syntax that they use on that command line is very well documented. It's all over the internet. So if you got any questions, it's easy to find the answers. So we're going to use the Cisco iOS. But I feel like you're not going to understand the Cisco iOS, or it'll be easier to understand if we start with the Windows command prompt first. Okay. So as you can see, the cursor's blinking. What we can do in the Windows command prompt is we can execute commands here. We can search for files. We can do similar to what you probably use File Explorer for. File Explorer is a graphical representation of those files, and that's probably the way that most of us that aren't in IT are used to looking at files. But sometimes it's faster or more efficient to do it from the command line than it is to use a graphical a GUI. All right, so here we go. Let's dive in. So let's just act like you don't know. This is your first time here. It very well may be. And you don't know what you're doing, what this is for, like what the heck. All right, so what we can start with is the question mark. And it does nothing. And I'm so happy that happened because we're going to have to figure out how to get something here. So let's try help. Let's type in help. Okay, there you go. So one thing about IT is you don't always know the answers, but you should know how to get them. So I didn't know how to find this help, but I got lucky and just used the word help. The same thing may happen the first time that you go into the command line of a switch. You may get lost. Just like we had a help here, there's also a help inside of a switch, a Cisco switch. Their iOS has help commands as well. So that's one thing to learn. It's probably the most important thing that you can learn. A lot of people may have the perception that people in IT know everything, but it's not true. We know how to find the answers pretty quickly. And that's what I'm teaching you right now. If you know how to find the answer, then technically you know how to do it. All right. So now that we hit help, it posted a list of commands here. And these commands are commands that are available to us right here at this line of code. So Let's look at a few of them, like date. I see one that says date. Let's see what that does. If I type in date, okay, so it shows the current date. That looks correct. Yeah, and it gives me an option of entering a new date. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna press enter. Let's see what else we have. BER, and it says this displays the version, the Windows version type. So it looks like, you know, one of my instructors back in like high school, they told me, Brian, the answer is always on the screen. And even though that was kind of a lie, the majority of times the answer really is on the screen. So with that being said, if you look under the help, it says for more information on specific command, type help. So if we were to do help date, let me do help after date and see what happens. The system cannot accept the date. Or if we do help and then date, okay, so it gives us information about what the date command does. All right, so that's one way that you can teach yourself, is you can go through each one of these and just type in help followed by the command, and it'll give you some details as to what it does. All right, not a few weeks ago, a week ago, I had a friend of mine call me, and his job was to upgrade Windows 10. Now, when I was coming up, upgrading Windows 10 was done with a disk, or maybe just by downloading the file, on the computer, downloading it, doing the update directly over the internet. But in his case, he actually had to do it from a command line, and there are a few caveats involved with doing that. But what I'm showing you right now, without this foundation, it probably would have been difficult to do that. With this foundation, you're going to be able to meet any challenge that involves a command line. So let's look at this command here, dir. This is one of the most important commands, one of the most commonly used commands that you'll use in the command line. But before we do dir, I want you to remember dir. What dir is for is it displays a list of files and subdirectories in a directory. So if I type it here, and actually I'm not going to type it there, because one of y'all might be a hacker, and I'm not going to show you my files. Please don't hack into my system. I don't have anything, I promise. I'm not going to do it there. I'm going to go to another folder. You almost got me, sneaky you. So if I do dir here, then it shows you the directory. So this cd, I changed directories. I basically backed out of the location that I was in because I didn't want you to see my private files. I didn't want to do dir and show you my entire directory of personal stuff. Instead, I backed out to the C drive, the main drive. And from here, I did the dir. So now you can see, stuff that isn't private. So I see something here called top secret. So let's take a look at that. So if I want to access this now, if you see my mouse moving, it says dir there. This is an indication that that's a directory. All right. If I come up here, this log, that's a log file. If I go down a little further, here's something that's a PNG. That's an image file. And I know those just because I'm familiar with file extensions. This DLL is a system file. It has the date here that it was created or modified. I don't know which one that is. I don't know whether it's the creation date or the modified date. You have a time there. Then sometimes you have a file size. You can see how large the file is if it's a file. If it's a file and not a directory, then sometimes you can see the file size there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into this top secret folder, man. We're going to see what's going on with this folder. I'm curious about what's in this top secret folder. So I'm going to do cd space top secret. So what that should do is place us into that top secret folder. But before I do that, I'm going to type in help and then cd. And let's see what this says. Displays the name of or changes the current directory. So I don't want to display the name, but I do want to change the current directory. So right now our current directory is the C drive. I want it to be the top secret. I want to go into this directory called top secret. So I'm going to cd, which stands for change directory. and we're going to type in top secret, then press enter. And oh my goodness, we're inside of the top secret folder. I wonder what's in here. I'm going to type in dir, because again, what does dir do? Let's type in help in dir. dir displays a list of files and subdirectories in the directory, and that's what I want to do right now. I want to see what's inside of the top secret folder. So I'm going to type in dir, press enter. Oh my goodness, I see some secret stuff. Wow. Let's see what that is. Let's change the directory again. Let's go into secret stuff. Oh man, we're in. I'm going to type in dir to see what's in there. Whoa. Okay. So I see an MP3. I see how large the MP3 is. Everybody should know what MP3 is. That's a music file. So you should be familiar with that file extension. A TXT, I think that we should know what that is too. That's a text file. So we have a secret document here. And then we have this MP3, which is memories. Okay? So I'm going to leave this. I don't think there's anything else that I want to share with you in this photo. We're gonna in a later video we're gonna open up this document. We're gonna figure out what this secret document is, and then we're gonna check out this MP3 to see what's on that. You know, this is a music channel too, so yeah, there's no telling. There may be some fire on that MP3, you know, since your boy produces. But anyway, we'll talk about that in another video. Keep in mind, when we move to the switch, the Cisco IOS switch, the same help commands we use here, it may be different, but I want you to understand the concept is the same. So I just taught you a concept, all right? Look at it this way. Let me give you an analogy. I just taught you how to use a language. For example, in English, if I teach you how to use English, then I'll teach you that there's a greeting. Okay, there's a greeting. When you meet people, greet them. All right, same thing for the command line. There is a help section. The command may be different. In English, I say help. Help is help. In Spanish, unfortunately, I don't know what to say for help. I'd have to Google it. But there's a help. In English, the greeting is hello. In Spanish, there's a greeting. I should know what that is in Spanish, but I don't know. I should know what hello is in Spanish. That's extremely basic. Hola, okay? Hola, all right? But same concept. The same concepts in the command line are going to apply in the Cisco IOS, okay? And that was the whole purpose of me teaching you the Windows command line before hopping into another command line. You can practice on your Windows command line just to get familiar with, you know, going around and navigating through everything. But that's what I wanted you to take from this lesson is the command line for different devices. All right, so feel free to post any questions that you may have at the bottom of the video, and I will see you next video. If I can exit out of this video. It's going to record eternally.